Imagine spending 25 years behind bars for something you didn't do. 25 birthdays. 25 Christmases. 25 years of your life erased, while the real criminal walked free. But instead of being crushed, he rose. Not just for himself, but for the voiceless. This is the story of a man who lost everything and used his pain to bring justice to others. It was a warm summer morning in 1989 when 19-year-old Darrell Thompson was walking home from his part-time job at a local hardware store in East Baltimore. He was an ordinary teenager with dreams: college, music, maybe becoming a history teacher someday. A quiet, soft-spoken kid known in the neighborhood for helping his elderly neighbors carry groceries or mow their lawns. But that morning, his life took a devastating turn. A woman had been found murdered 2 blocks away, brutally attacked in the stairwell of her apartment complex. Witnesses reported seeing a young black man flee the scene. No weapon. No fingerprints. No forensic evidence. Just panic, pressure from the public, and a city desperate for answers. The police brought Darrell in for questioning. They told him it was routine. They lied. Within hours, he found himself surrounded by detectives pushing for a confession, pointing to eyewitnesses who claimed he was the man they saw. He was confused. Terrified. He kept saying, "I didn't do anything." But it didn't matter. After a 6-hour interrogation and a coerced, scribbled confession, fed to him piece by officers, Darrell was charged with murder. He never stood a chance. His court-appointed lawyer did the bare minimum. The jury saw a scared black teenager. And the justice system did what it had done to many before him. It swallowed him whole. Sentenced to life in prison without parole. All Darrell ever wanted was to go home, to be free. To hug his mother again. To sit on the front porch of his childhood home and hear the sound of crickets in the summer. To go to school. To make music. To live. Inside prison, he clung to that hope. He wrote letters. Dozens, hundreds, every week, to innocence projects, legal clinics, universities. He read legal books until the pages turned soft from overuse. He memorized court cases. He helped other inmates understand their rights. His dream changed. He still wanted his freedom, but now he also wanted justice. For others, too. Because in prison, Darrell saw the faces of many like him. Men sentenced without evidence. Teens tried as adults. People too poor to fight the system. Some had given up. But not Darrell. He wanted the truth. And he wanted redemption, not just for himself, but for every name lost in the shadows of wrongful convictions. But freedom does not come easy for the wrongfully convicted. For 2 decades, the system ignored his pleas. Courts denied his appeals. Evidence that could have helped his case had been lost or destroyed. One key witness had recanted her statement, admitting police had threatened her, but the judge deemed it not credible. Another witness died before they could testify. Even his family began to lose hope. Darrell's mother passed away 10 years into his sentence. She had always believed him. Her final words to him, over a crackly prison phone line, were simple: "Keep fighting, baby." So he did. But it took a toll. There were days Darrell questioned everything. Days he thought about ending it all. What if the truth didn't matter? What if nobody was coming? But each time he sank, some fire inside, kept him going. Maybe it was his mother's voice. Maybe it was the faces of the men inside, still clinging to slivers of hope. Maybe it was the knowledge that if he gave up, the system won. So he fought on. Until something changed. In 2014, a law student named Priya Desai at a university innocence clinic stumbled upon Darrell's case while researching coerced confessions. She read his file. Then read it again. And again. Something didn't add up. No physical evidence. No credible witness. A confession that had all the hallmarks of coercion. A teenager with no priors, sentenced for a crime with no solid proof. She brought it to her supervisor, and together, they reopened the case. That same year, DNA testing, finally approved, was conducted on the evidence collected from the victim's clothing. The results were damning. Not only did the DNA not match Darrell, it matched another man. A known offender. Someone who had committed a nearly identical crime in the same neighborhood months later. Someone who had never even been questioned in Daryl's case. With this evidence, the Innocence Clinic filed a motion to vacate his conviction. In 2016, after 25 years in prison, Daryl Thompson walked out of a Maryland state penitentiary a free man. He was 44 years old. Freedom was not the end of Daryl's journey, it was the beginning of a new chapter. He didn't disappear. He didn't retreat into silence. He became a voice. He spoke at universities and legal symposiums. He volunteered with organizations that helped exonerees find housing, work, and mental health care. He testified before Congress on the need for interrogation reform and compensation for the wrongfully convicted. In 2019, he founded the Thompson Initiative, a nonprofit dedicated to helping the wrongfully imprisoned access legal aid and emotional support. The first man his team helped was released after 17 years inside. Daryl was there at the gate, waiting. He once said in an interview, "They took 25 years from me. But I'm not here to get revenge. I'm here to make sure nobody else has to lose that much." Today, Daryl is a symbol of resilience, not because he survived prison, but because he turned his pain into purpose. He could have left it all behind. Instead, he chose to walk back into the darkness, carrying a light for others. And through his work, he has helped free 5 more innocent men. That number is growing. True crime stories often end in tragedy. But this one ends in redemption. Daryl Thompson was a teenager when the system took everything from him. It tried to bury him under decades of silence and steel. But he rose. Not bitter, but bold. Not broken, but burning with purpose. And now, every life he touches, every man he helps free, every speech he gives, is a reminder. The system may fail, but the human spirit doesn't have to. If you found this story powerful, subscribe to our channel for more true stories of crime and redemption. Because sometimes, the darkest paths lead to the brightest lights.